sign up in their football program. So they both have great traditions and something that young men want to be a part of.
Hazelwood Central has won the toss, back deep to receive. Lorenzo Brinkley, number 2, and David May, number 20. Hazelwood Central will go left to right in the 5A state championship game.
This is what you want to get, that first hit out of the way. Go down and make contact with somebody, then you're ready to play.
There was a good look at Lorenzo Brinkley. He was a quarterback last year. The kick is high, pretty deep. And it will be fielded by May at the 10, to the 15, and down to the 18-yard line. The Hawks will take over. 1st and 10 from there.
Well, that's simply great coverage. You know, I think all of our goals as coaches with our special teams on the kickoff is to try to make the tackle inside the 20-yard line. And indeed, as that happened, the ball downed on the 19-yard line, 1st and 10.
Maurice Bradford, the quarterback. Lorenzo Brinkley will play at one of the tailbacks today for Hazelwood Central. Along with him, David Mays, number 20, number 22, David Calamise, and number 37, Mario Johnson. Power I formation. This is Bradford. To Calamise, running left. It will pick up 3 or 4 yards before being stopped.
One thing Coach Severino talked about a lot during this week of practice was the fact that he wanted to try to force the Hawks into a 2nd and long situation, a 2nd and 8, a 3rd down and 7, to keep away from a big play on 1st down, because force them into a pass, and the Hawklets feel very good about their pass defense.
Well, if you notice, Mario Johnson is a tailback today, which isn't a big surprise. He played most of the season at fullback, but in the last 3 playoff games, they've moved in the tailback position, and he's had an outstanding performance there.
And that was Johnson with the football over the 25 to the 26-yard line. You saw momentarily a look at the Hazelwood Central line. Bob Laramie is the center. The guards, John Hay and Jim Gosrow. Hay, by the way, is a 2-way performer, one of the outstanding linebackers for Hazelwood Central. Mark McVeigh and Mike Sutkus are the tackles. Sutkus 73, McVeigh 76.
Well, you know, the pattern early is Mario Johnson against Riverview Gardens. In 51 offensive plays, he carried the ball 42 times.
3rd down, Hawks. They're on the 26. This is Johnson. No, instead they will give to number 2, the ball carrier, Lorenzo Brinkley, and Brinkley has a 1st down.
Rockhurst was really happy in a way that Bradford is the starting quarterback because of that reason right there. Brinkley is so explosive when he touches the football from that tailback position. He won't get the ball every snap like he did when he was quarterback.
No, and I tell you, it gives them another dimension that they haven't shown yet. They also have a halfback pass. When Hazelwood Central won the championship 2 years ago, they won it on a halfback pass thrown by none other than Tony Van Zandt.
Johnson, the ball carrier. Mario cracks it forward to the 38-yard line before being stopped.
And they won't get too fancy with Mario at 270 pounds. Here's the ball, buddy. Run it right up the gut.
That's right, nor should you.
The other thing we ought to note right off the bat, too, is that Mario doesn't run with a lot of help. The Hawk offensive line has been very dominant this year. They have added some consistency to the offensive performance of Hazelwood.
Just underway here at Faurot Field. We are scoreless, 9:22 remaining here in the 1st period, and Mario Johnson with the ball close to a 1st down. He was tackled at the 39-yard line.
Well, that time Hazelwood got into an unbalanced set with a power I set that direction and simply said, "We're coming," and come they do.
Here's a good look, good blocking on the left-hand side by Jim Gosrow as Mario Johnson gets the 1st down for Hazelwood Central. Remember, this is a team that doesn't like to throw the ball very much, and with a guy like Johnson as your tailback, 270 pounds of him, why should you? The ends are tight. Johnson, the ball carrier, once again, takes 3 guys with him and cracks forward for 3 more yards. He's to the 48-yard line or thereabouts.
Rockhurst really suffered a void when they lost Tim Ryan to graduation. He went on to play at Notre Dame, a freshman this year, has seen a lot of action. Concerns about the middle of that linebacking core, but some guys have really come on. Matt Ponzer in the middle of it, a middle linebacker, 6'1", 208 guy, and has really played well. He'll have a busy day trying to keep Mario Johnson in the backfield, not get beyond the line of scrimmage.
Rockhurst linebacker Matt Nolan on the stop. Second down for the Hawks. Brinkley with it. First down. Into Rockhurst territory at the 45.
Well, very obviously, one thing that's happening quite early is they're doing a nice job on their misdirect, using Mario Johnson as the influence and then giving to Lorenzo Brinkley on the off-tackle run.
At this rate, fellas, this is going to be a quick game. Good look at the Hazelwood Central cheerleaders. They have a nice crowd from St. Louis over here, and it is matched by Rockhurst. Boy, what tradition these two high school programs have, huh? Power eye setup for Hazelwood Central. Mario Johnson, the ball carrier, and it takes 4 Rockhurst Hawklets to bring him down. Finally, they do, and putting the hit on him, David O'Keefe, among others. O'Keefe, a junior safety for Rockhurst.
Dave, you talked about Coach Severino's desire to get in the second long situation. This is the first one of the ball game, the first real attack that we've had out of the Rockhurst defense to put them in that 2nd and 8 situation, and maybe producing a throwing situation.
Second down and long. That's sure what Rockhurst wants. They don't like to see the ball jammed down their throats. Behind good blocking. Brinkley the lead back through. Mario Johnson is inside the 40 to the 37-yard line and near another first down. He'll be about a yard shy.
Coach Severino and I talked about who would be the key players, Johnson, Rashid. He says, yeah, that's true, but it's really the line of scrimmage. If the guys in front of them don't do the job, no matter how good or how big the backs are, they're never going to get to the line unless there's some good blocking. Hazelwood able to do that here early.
Show Me Bowl 87. We hope you enjoy the action. As the large schools play, Johnson fumbled. And I believe Rockhurst has recovered. So this is the break perhaps the Kansas City school needs. They get the ball after a nice drive that consumed nearly 6 minutes by Mario Johnson. 6 minutes, 33 seconds left in a scoreless game. Hazelwood Central against Rockhurst. You are watching the Missouri State High School Football Network. They were 12-1 this year. That was matched by Hazelwood Central. The quarterback is number 10, Jim Dorlack. Man in motion. They'll pitch back to Rashid. As he turns it up, will gain good ground, still on his feet, and finally bumped out of bounds at the 48-yard line.
That is something the Hawklets want to do a lot of. Run twin receivers to one side and then run that way. If Rashid gets a couple of blocks, he runs about a 4.6. He's 230 pounds, but the guy has not only power but speed.
240 pounds, Jack Jones, and it's all legs.
He's an extremely strong runner, very obviously. But, you know, the other thing he shows is his outstanding acceleration. You know, as we get into this ball game, if he gets that speed loose up and down the field, he's a very, very dangerous runner.
Hutto, Ponzer, Gertman, Freeman, and Schmelsley for Rockhurst. Number 28 with the ball, Robert Gamble.
Gamble was the kicker at the start of this football season. Has played mainly at a tailback spot. Will start, but nearly doesn't get the ball as much as Mr. Rashid. But he's an outstanding basketball player, just one of the great athletes in this Rockhurst High School.
Second down now for the Hawklets. Ball is on the 47-yard line. Keep in mind, we are scoreless, but it's very early. 5 minutes, 50 seconds and counting here in the first quarter. Fake twice. Dorlack rolls out, can't find a soul to throw to, and he is stopped by number 37 for Hazelwood Central, Mario Johnson, up from the strong safety position.
Yeah, we'll credit that sack to the defensive secondary. They locked on man-to-man and simply wouldn't let loose.
Nice one-on-one tackle.
Rockhurst feels very good about their wideouts. 6 guys that can catch the football for Tony Severino's team, and they feel like anytime they want to throw, they can do that. They feel that confident in their pass game. Not only do they have Rashid, but they can throw as well.
Passing situation now. Instead, they'll run the option. This is Dorlack keeping first down. Still on his feet at the 30. At the 28-yard line. Great run by Jim Dorlack, the quarterback.
Dorlack is a guy, he's not big, he's not fast, doesn't have a great arm, but he beat you. He's a competitor. 26-9 Rockhurst is, with him as the starting quarterback. Took over as a sophomore and has been dynamite ever since.
You know, it was a great run, but it was also a great fake by Rashid to draw the draw the defensive end into the inside of the defense.
And now the backs are split behind Dorlack, who drops back, looks to throw. They're setting up a screen. Broken up. Number 4 of Hazelwood Central, Robert Rogers, with the hit. And it was a dandy.
Jason Tyre, the receiver, one of the 3 Division I players that Coach Severino thinks will get a major scholarship. And there you see, pretty good hit by Tyre, really no chance at all to catch the football.
Hazelwood Central trying to cool off Rockhurst here, and it's a very cool afternoon at Faurot Field. Raining off and on, although it hasn't been drizzling for the last hour and a half or so. 2nd and 10 for the Hawklets. They are in blue. Option play. Dorlack keeping after the fake to Rashid, and Dorlack gets down to the 25-yard line or near it. Mario Johnson, the hit. Rockhurst with a couple of guys that go both ways.
Early in the game, both defenses have had to come up with some big plays, and this is probably as big a play as we'll see this 3rd and long situation by the Hawks.
I said Rockhurst, of course, Hazelwood Central with Mario Johnson, Lorenzo Brinkley, and the like. And both of those guys are in the backfield. They're also on defense. Dorlack rushing for 23 yards so far. 3rd down, looks to throw. Man open and complete to number 16, Chris Holmes, who has a 1st down inside the 10 to the 8-yard line. Fine throw that time by Dorlack. Holmes on the post pattern, and he was wide open.
Yeah, a real good crossing pattern from his outside position from the left, coming straight across the middle, and a nice throw by Jim Dorlack.
A lot of zip, Dave Stewart.
Jimmy can throw, you know. In fact, we talked about him before, the competitor in him. He's one of those guys that will just beat you one way or another. Missouri Western, we are told, one of the schools that would like to have his services for the next year. Not only is he a fine football player, but a fine young man as well. But he can throw the football. He sure can.
The Golden Griffins at Missouri Western looking after him, huh?
You know, Dorlack, I think Dave has been a starter since halfway through his sophomore year, and I think the statistic you gave me earlier was just simply amazing on his 1 loss.
Twin receivers now to the bottom of your screen, left-hand side. High formation for Rockhurst. They'll put a man in motion and pitch back to Rashid. Can't pick up a block, but he sheds 1 tackler before being pushed down without a gain.
That's what you like to try to do, string him out as far as you can, make him run out of real estate, and all he had was a sideline to go to. Good job by the defensive front forcing that play outside.
You know, one of the strengths of the Hazelwood Hawks is their outside defense. I was a little surprised early at Rockhurst's opportunities on the outside, but now that they've settled down, it looks like the Hawks traditionally have that strong perimeter defense.
Officials timeout now. Scoreless game. Rockhurst driving after Hazelwood Central fumbled the ball away at the Rockhurst 37-yard line. So offensively, both these teams have been able to move the football.
I'd like to take this opportunity to say that the Missouri State High School Activities Association would like to pay tribute to a special friend of intercollegiate athletics, that being Alex George of Kansas City, who passed away on Thursday of a heart attack. I knew Alex for some time. He always treated me like a grandson who he hadn't seen for some time. Meant so much to professional and amateur sports in Kansas City, and he will certainly be missed.
2nd down now for Rockhurst. Rashid, the ball carrier, to the 5-yard line. And it will be 3rd down from there. Rashid getting a lot of work, Jack Jones.
Yeah, a lot of work and a different kind of a look on the offense now, coming to the inside with the inside trap play, and I think we'll see a little bit more of that. Hazelwood Hawks in their standard 4-4 defense invite that trap play up the middle, usually defend pretty well, but with Rashid's running ability, it's certainly a spot that I think we can look for the Hawklets to attack.
And Jim Dorr come out and make sure of this one. We are scoreless. Hazelwood Central and Rockhurst. This is the Missouri 5A Football Championship. And Dorlack pitches back to number 40, Chris Powell, who turns it up. Touchdown!
Chris Powell is only a sophomore, wears number 40, the same as Tim Ryan wore, and that's with reason. Rockhurst believes he is really the star of the future, maybe the best running back ever to play if he continues to improve. That's one of the reasons. 3rd and 5, who do they go to? A sophomore, and he comes through.
Well, one of the things about the play, they go to the sophomore running back, but the senior running back is a lead blocker. The 235-pounder does a nice job blocking at the corner to allow the sophomore to get in.
And the kick by Vince Hodis is good. 7-0 is our score. Rockhurst on top. And we will be back with more. Fine drive that time by Rockhurst. You see the scoreboard here at Faurot Field. 7-0, the Hawklets. You are watching the Missouri State High School Football Network. Seven nothing, Rockhurst leading here at Faurot Field. A very cool afternoon. Along with Dave Stewart and Jack Jones, I'm Rich Gould. Hope you're enjoying the telecast today, the 5A championship game. The ball is driven and then picked up by number 2, Lorenzo Brinkley, who tries to get in the middle and once again is stopped at the 20-yard line, roughly where Hazelwood Central started on the first possession.
Well, again, great special teams effort, just super. I mean, the kickoff is short. It should be returned, but the hustle of that Hawklet defense.
And here's that touchdown one more time. Powell will cut it up and score as he went against the grain. Great scoring drive by Hazelwood Central. Down the line we look. Or pardon me, by Rockhurst. Rockhurst leading 7-0. Hazelwood Central with the football and Brinkley in motion. He taps his quarterback to let him know he's by, and Mario Johnson slips as he makes his cut, but he'll gain 3 yards to the 23.
Yeah, put a lot of pressure on the outside perimeter defense of the Hawklets. That time they're in an unbalanced line and motion with an up back towards the unbalanced, creating more of a blocking scheme than with Mario Johnson behind that scheme. A good gain, and it's going to be a tough series for the Hawks to come back now to establish a line of scrimmage.
You saw the graphic. Johnson with 28 yards rushing so far. Power eye set up. Maurice Bradford, the quarterback, and this is Mario Johnson, who is stacked up and driven backwards. Matt Nolan, among others, hit Johnson.
That's what they want to do, really punish him. Have 5 or 6 guys hit him. If you're going to carry the ball 40 times, you are going to feel it, but they'd like to have you feel that pain about in the first period of play, and that time he had a world of hurt on him.
You know, Matt Nolan picking up in this game where he ended off last year. He had a great series last year in the state 5A game. He's a very active nose guard, off shifting once in a while. He'll be around the ball most of the day.
John Pugh and Dan Carl are the ends. Brinkley in motion, and Brinkley comes back and gets the football, picks up a block to the 30, and down at the 36-yard line. Great play by Hazelwood Central that time. They didn't throw the football. They didn't panic. Brinkley with a first down.
They're talking about Hazelwood Central not throwing the ball. They have the ability to throw, but I think in this situation, with this end of the field just being scored upon, they'd like to establish again, control that line of scrimmage. And of course, they got the big play out of Lorenzo Brinkley. He is a big play ball player.
Good blocking that time, too. Along the left-hand side, Mike Sutkus blocked down on his man, helped open the hole. Fumble, still loose, and I believe Hazelwood Central may retain possession. Let's see. Rockhurst says they have the football.
Now, one thing about playing on artificial surface, that ball does take some very unusual bounces.
Sure does. Now, this is Brinkley who tries to get it, and he is tackled, and Mario Johnson dives forward, and I believe Mario came up with it.
At this point in the ball game, you really don't want to self-destruct with turnovers, but boy, that would have been deadly.
89, James Hughes into the game for Hazelwood Central. And that's the end of the first quarter. Hazelwood Central moved the football well. Nothing to show for it. Rockhurst leads this 7-0. This is the Missouri 5A Football Championship. And the pass has been picked off by Rockhurst, so they are in the driver's seat one more time.
That is precisely the reason that Rockhurst wanted to try to force the Hawks into a passing situation. Two defenders right there. Robert Gamble with the interception. A second turnover, and Hawklets are in business at the 38-yard line.
You know, Robert Gamble made what's interesting in his name, he did gamble on that, because if he doesn't intercept that ball, if it goes through, that is going to be a touchdown.
It's gone. That's a great interception.
What a great effort. Great effort. Timed it perfectly.
A great dive by Gamble. Rockhurst with the ball. They're moving left to right now in the second period. Play fake. Dorlack in trouble. Throws it. Did it skip or did he make the catch? No, incomplete pass. The ball skipped off the new turf at Faurot Field. I say new because I haven't been here for the past couple of years. I've been out in California, but I haven't been to Faurot Field since they've gotten the turf. It looks very nice.
It's great turf. It's a great surface, and got real fortunate on the weather. It drains real well, and all the rain we had yesterday, playing conditions are just super down there.
Flag down. They're talking with Hazelwood Central. It's a penalty against Rockhurst. A nice bundled-up crowd here at Faurot Field enjoying the action. We trust those of you sitting around your fireplaces at home.
The officials waved it off. They had initially signaled ineligible receiver downfield, but they picked the flag and waved it off. Apparently, it was an error on their part. They stuck the flag back in the pocket. Something all coaches love to see happen.
These high school players look forward to playing on artificial turf, being like the big time. Boy, it may be one of the worst things that ever happened to football, injury-wise. It can be just devastating.
Tough on the legs, isn't it? High formation. Rashid is the up back. Rashid gets it, left side. Gains 3 yards before he is pulled down by a host of Hawks, among them number 34 for Hazelwood Central, Mark Hall. He is one of the starting linebackers for the Hawks.
It's one of the things I told Rashid. I said, hey, if you go to UCLA, you're playing on grass, right? If you're going to carry the ball 20, 30 times a ball game for 4 years.
And if he goes to UCLA, it's probably 65 to 70 degrees out there.
There you
he
go.
doesn't have to mess with this. But we don't mind, and I trust neither do they. They are delighted to be here. Dorlack, the quarterback, pumps once, goes deep, has his man wide open, and then it is broken up and intercepted by Hazelwood Central. The pass a little slow by Dorlack that time, and this is what the Hawks needed.
Well, Jim Dorlack would like to have this ball back and have another opportunity to throw it, because he had his man open. He just laid it up a little bit too softly, allowing the interception.
Soft, and he threw it late, didn't he, Coach?
He certainly did. One of the things that the Hawklets have shown early, though, is just tremendous mixing up of their plays. They're trying to keep Hazelwood Central off balance by throwing, running, in some situations that perhaps the Hawks aren't ready for. But of course, that didn't fool the Hawk defensive back.
The interception by Robert Crumpton. Mario Johnson, the ball carrier, and he is stacked up at the 8-yard line.
Big number 75, Mike Ryan, 6'3", 284. Was not eligible early in the year, but has played 5 ball games in a row, and he is just a massive guy. Somebody that really has been keying on Mr. Johnson, and with good reason. At 270, 284, you've got a guy that can at least match him pound for pound and try to wear the guy down.
Both teams 12-1 entering this championship football game. Hazelwood Central with the ball. They are down 7-0. Lorenzo Brinkley slips as he makes his cut. He will lose 2 yards. 3rd down and long now for the Hawks, and they'll be at the 6-yard line.
It's kind of amazing. They've changed philosophies on what type of shoe you wear on an artificial turf. At Kansas State, where I attended, now they wear almost a tennis shoe. It's like a Converse high top. The linemen in particular will wear a high top tennis shoe. You really don't see that many actual turf shoes anymore. They'll just wear a good tennis shoe.
One ball game completed today in Class 3A. Berkeley High out of St. Louis, a team with great tradition, defeated Branson 45-8, and the folks from Berkeley don't know how tough it is for me to say that. It pains me. I am a graduate of Branson High School, but congratulations to Berkeley. They knocked off Branson 45-8 in the 3A championship game just before this one. 9:16 and counting. 3rd down. Mario Johnson with a pitch. Runs outside, tries to turn the corner. Will gain 5-6 yards, but not enough for a 1st down, and Hazelwood Central will be forced to punt.
Tells you something about the confidence or lack thereof in the passing offense of the Hawks. They go ahead and try to run Johnson wide with a lot of yardage to pick up.
Indeed, but Dave, one of the things I think that John Hotfelter wants to avoid is turnover at this end of the field. They just dodged the bullet by getting the ball back after the interception, and so right now he's satisfied with punting, getting the ball upfield, and trying to play good defense.
Lorenzo Brinkley hit it at his own goal line. It is picked up by Gamble up the left side. Good return to the 25-yard line. Rockhurst in business once again.
Well, one of the subtle aspects of that play was of the special teams of Rockhurst was their ability to have their defense actually hold the offensive linemen on the line of scrimmage. I don't mean they were holding. They simply came up in a pass block routine and would not let the Hazelwood Hawks off the ball.
Right, and time's called. 7-0 is our score. This is the Missouri 5A football championship. One turnover in the game, and it led to a touchdown by Rockhurst. The Hawklets have had the ball 4 minutes and a second. Hazelwood Central in times of possession with the ball over 10 minutes, but they trail on the scoreboard 7-0. And this is Chris Powell running well to the 15-yard line. And he's very close to another first down.
Pretty good indication of the things that Chris Powell is able to do. Really kind of a tragedy in the Powell story, in the Powell family. His older brother, Sean, was considered at one time one of the dominant players in Kansas City, or at least potentially they thought he could be an outstanding running back. Had a couple of knee injuries and was not able to play as a senior this year. Young brother Chris is no doubt carrying on the family name and doing quite well.
High formation for Rockhurst. Broken play and a fumble. And Hazelwood Central has got the ball back.
Well, that's a mental mistake that you don't normally see a Jim Dorlack do. I don't know what he had in mind, Coach.
Well, it simply looked like he turned the wrong way. He got confused on the play call, and the confusion was forgivable, but then, of course, what he doesn't want to do is give up the ball, and he does.
Busted play that time, and Dorlack didn't have both hands on it tightly, and it was also stripped. I'm not sure who made the initial hit in the backfield, but Dorlack was swinging that ball with one arm, and it popped out of there.
You know, the interesting thing that's happening now is that twice in a row, the Hawklets of Rockhurst have been in great field position and have been a place where they could lengthen their lead, and the Hawks have come up with a big play.
Dan Carl to the near side. This is a draw. Brinkley with the football, and Brinkley gets to the 20-yard line, still on his feet to the 23. Good solo effort by Lorenzo Brinkley, who last year in the state championship game was playing some quarterback for this team.
Pretty good desire. One thing you want to teach your running backs, keep your feet moving all the time and lean forward. You never know how many extra yards you might be able to get. Brinkley that time got a couple extra.
Dave Stewart and Jack Jones, that's the first time I have seen Hazelwood Central in anything other than a tight formation. That time they split two receivers.
I think as the game moves on here, you're going to see a little bit more variety out of the Hawks. They wanted to come in to see if they could dominate things with Mario. Now you know Mario's playing the fullback position.
He has the ball now. He's over the 25-yard line on a 2nd and 6 call, and it will be 3rd and short for the Hawks. 35 yards for Mario Johnson. He's carried the ball 13 times. Big crowd huddled up here.
He wears that weight well. At 270, you would think that he would be kind of sloppy, but he's really not.
Yeah. Can you imagine tackling a guy like that? I mean, 270 and a fellow who can run.
No.
Ole, I'd wave him by. 3rd down. Hazelwood Central trying to get something going. Had a great drive to open the game, but Johnson fumbled it away. This is Brinkley now. He's stacked up, and he'll be short of a first down. Good defensive charge on the left side by Rockhurst.
Well, although Hazelwood didn't convert the 1st and 10 and will have to punt, the one thing they did in that series was to get out of their unbalanced set, go to a standard slot I, and force the Hawklet defense to kind of balance up. I think we'll see a little bit more of that, because out of that slot I, you're going to see a little more versatility in the Hawk offense.
In just a moment, folks, we're going to tell you about the SNI network and who is watching and where today. Punt by Brinkley. Hits at the 35-yard line. And down goes number 28, Robert Gamble. So Rockhurst will have the ball at their own 31-yard line. 5 minutes, 16 seconds left. Rockhurst leads 7-0. This is the Missouri 5A football championship. The Missouri State High School 5A Championship is brought to you by Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Missouri. Carry the Blue Cross and Blue Shield caring card, the card that cares for the U.S. Olympic team. Rockhurst running the football, not too successfully on this play, however. It will be 2nd and long, 2nd and 9.
Rockhurst basically considers itself a right-handed football team, and by that they like to run right because Sean Schmelsley is a dominant player at right tackle. You saw an idea, time of possession, the Hawks of Hazelwood dominating, but Rockhurst has had more quality time. They got in the end zone.
High formation, the Hawklets. Rashid, the ball carrier, 40, 45-yard line, and it takes 2 guys to bring him down, and only after he carried them for about 5 yards.
Rockhurst beat Hickman Mills in the semifinals during the playoffs, and a couple of times Rashid did exactly that. Ran over defenders and carried them with him for a few yards. Good gain up to just beyond the 46.
Kenyon Rashid, senior, stands 6 feet, weighs 235 pounds.
That's at breakfast time.
That's
at breakfast before he eats.
And everybody in college football looking at it, they want him to play at their place. Oklahoma has talked to him. UCLA has talked to him. Rashid now, good blocking. Big hole, but it closes quickly. Still, he gets across midfield and gets to the 46-yard line on 2nd effort.
Would you believe he's a guy that dunks a basketball? The Hawklet basketball team opens Monday night. He'll be in uniform but will not play. It's hard to believe a guy that big, that powerful, has some of the finesse that it takes to be a guard. He can dribble through his legs and do all those sorts of things. We know how he plays football. That was a pretty good example right there.
Well, right now the Hawklets of Rockhurst are attacking the off-tackle hole, doubling down on the defensive end and allowing their lead backs to do a nice job of kicking out on the defensive linebacker.
Power I formation. Dorlick with a double fake, rolling, looks, in trouble. Down he goes. He had nobody to throw to, and number 83 of Hazelwood Central, Kirk Stevens, was right on him. That's a big loss.
Jack, might have been a good decision, though, just to eat the football, because really there was nobody to throw to. If he'd thrown it into a crowd, then you look at giving the ball back to the Hawks again.
Yes, that's right. And, you know, the way that play developed, it looked like he possibly was going to throw back across the field to Rashid, but the rush of the defense just wasn't going to permit that.
Lost all the way back to the 45-yard line. 3rd down and 12 for Rockhurst, and this is Dorland. Slips, steps up, tackled and fumbled, but it is recovered. Number 52 of Rockhurst, Matt Ponzer, counts on it.
He had Jason Tyre open momentarily, but didn't see him in time, couldn't get the football to him, and you saw the result. He took a pretty good lick right there. Good thing for Rockhurst. They had an offensive lineman with his head paying attention, able to recover.
Sorry, Dave, but you know the secondary of Sleevey, Brinkley, and Moore of the Hawks are really locking on to those receivers. They're playing real good man-to-man pass defense, and they set up that sack.
Chris Holmes punting it away to Lorenzo Brinkley, and everyone from Hazelwood Central gets it away. The ball is dead at the 24-yard line. That's where the Hawks will take over. 7-0 is our score. Rockhurst leading. This is the Missouri State High School Football Network. Mention them twice.
That's where you get your paycheck.
That's where I get my paycheck.
Okay, that's fair.
Double pass coming up. The pass is high and broken up. Not a well-thrown ball that time by number 8, Daniel Carl, who stepped back from his wing position, took the pass, and then threw it deep downfield. He was too short with it.
Once again, you want to have something happen, make a big play, but again, pretty poor decision when you've got double coverage on your guy that's deep downfield and a guy that doesn't throw the football that often.
No, I think we're beginning to see, though, that Hazelwood realizing that the clock is not totally in their favor, and field position being another factor.
And we are in the third quarter. The clock stopped now, but it's been rare when the clock has stopped. And on this drive, rare when Hazelwood Central gets some yardage. It will be third down and long after a stop. No gain. The Rockhurst fans across the way.
Coach, you talked about it before the game, defense being the key, and Rockhurst and Hazelwood both can play that all day long. That was just great desire.
7-0 is our score. Hazelwood Central having trouble on third down conversions.
Well, you know, both teams having a little difficulty on converting third downs now. I think both these teams defensively have really toughened up. And, of course, Rockhurst is on the scoreboard as a result of an error, and that's the only way they got in the field position.
And here's Jack Jones' favorite penalty. A little too much time taken that time by Hazelwood Central. But the clock stops at 54. You guys never did that at Webster Groves, did you?
I have to tell you, we had one called yesterday in a football game, in our annual Thanksgiving Day game last Thursday, not yesterday. Seems like yesterday. One all season long, and it was pretty critical.
That's no good. I formation now. The quarterback is Maurice Bradford. Bradford has thrown the football only twice. There has been one other pass, and this is Brinkley, who gains 3 yards but can't get back to the original line of scrimmage, so Hazelwood Central will punt the football away. And defensively, Rockhurst is looking very sharp.
One thing Central might want to think about is the fact, kick it away from the deep man. That's something that Rockhurst did successfully on this past possession. Kick it away from the guy. Don't let him run it back.
Robert Gamble is setting up at the 48-yard line, the Hazelwood Central 48-yard line. Brinkley to punt. Hits it high, doesn't turn over. Fair catch called for, but not made. I believe Hazelwood Central has it.
Well, we were talking before about Hazelwood Central needing a break to get back in the ball game, or to get into a situation where they could have a chance to tie this ball game, and that may just be the break.
We saw that in the Class 3A game preceding this one. If you're going to call a fair catch, focus on the ball and catch it. You're not going to get hit. If you get hit, it's the other team's fault and you'll get a penalty. Catch the football.
Number 95 that time, or was it 85? John Pugh, 85. John Pugh made the fumble recovery. Turnovers all even at 3 apiece, and this could be the biggest of them all. Hazelwood Central has yet to put the ball in the end zone. That's the end of the third quarter. They'll have 12 minutes in which to do that. 7-0 is our score. Rockhurst maintaining their lead. And you are watching the Missouri State High School Football Network. That gives the St. Louis School possession at their own 44-yard line. And they have to do something with the football. 1A championship game being played in Liberty, Missouri. In the second period, Hardin Central leads Adrian 14-6. That being played at William Jewell College. Here's the power I. Bradford, the quarterback. Johnson, the ball carrier. Straight arms one man, but not enough. And he is down at the 46-yard line. Ball squirted loose, but Mario was already down.
And if you notice, the Hazelwood Hawks are back into their unbalanced line power I set. So with 12 minutes to go in his high school career, we might be seeing the Mario Johnson show starting all over again.
Kind of a rarity, too, on that play. Jason Tyre was able to break free and really trip him up around the ankles. Normally, you got to get a pretty good grip on that guy.
He took his legs out, didn't he? Second down, 9 yards. Bradford to Brinkley. Goes against the grain. pushes across midfield and is down at the 48-yard line. He'll be 2 yards shy of a first down.
Well, that was a strong running effort on Lorenzo Brinkley's part. He's a very determined young man. He's not small, 185-pounder, but he turned back across that grain, broke a tackle at the line of scrimmage, and picked up a very valuable 4 yards.
10:54 and counting here in the fourth period. We're glad you stayed with us. One of the Hazelwood Central cheerleaders exalting her team on. They need a touchdown. And then we'll see if they go for a 2-point conversion. Could get interesting, folks. Near midfield. Hawks with the ball. Brinkley tries to juke his man, but he is collared around the ankle and will lose a yard. 4th down and 3, and more than likely, the field position game here won't be good enough. They're going for it, don't you think?
Well, I'd be very surprised if they go for it here. You know, you've got 10:19 on the clock, and you could, you know, they've been playing such great defense, and they are going to punt. They've been playing such great defense. You can force an error on the other guys into the field. It's a big key coming up here in this ball game. Play good defense, stay patient. There's a lot of time left.
See there, Dave, that's why I don't coach football for a living. I'd have went for it, I'd have missed, and my team is beaten. Timeout called by Hazelwood Central. They want to set up their punting attack. About 35 degrees here. 7-0 is our score. Rockhurst winning this football game. It's been a dandy. This is the Missouri State High School Football Network. 7-0 is our score. Hazelwood Central about to punt things away to Rockhurst. Back deep to kick, Lorenzo Brinkley. To receive for Rockhurst, number 28, Robert Gamble, who dropped a fair catch just moments ago, but it turns out it didn't cost him, and now Gamble will back off, and the ball is touchdown at the 11.5-yard line. That's where Rockhurst will take over. Our score, Kansas City with the football leading 7-0 against Hazelwood Central. This is the Missouri 5A Football Championship. Having won last year 13-10, they had a very tough victory over Jeff City last week. 18-16 was the final score there. To get here, Hazelwood Central beat a good St. Louis Lafayette team. First down play will get up to about the 14-yard line.
Both sides of the ball right now, linemen particularly, the offense and defensive linemen are really coming off that ball. I think both of them sensing the critical aspects of this series. If the Hawks can force a punt now and end up with good field position, with 9:18 left in the ball game, they'll have their first legitimate opportunity in the second half to be in scoring position.
Campbell comes to the near side. He is the wide receiver. The pitch will go back to Rashid, who almost lost possession, but he regains it, goes to the 20-yard line, and he might have a first down. Great individual effort that time by Kenyon Rashid.
Boy, it really was. You know, one thing you don't expect from one of your leaders is to make a critical mistake. And a fumble would have been when you talk about down around the 20-yard line with 9 minutes to go. Rashid, the ball carrier, that's the guy that you want to get the ball in his hands. Give him the opportunity to make something happen. He had an individual effort outstanding up beyond the 21, and indeed it is a first down.
85 yards on the game for Rashid. So the folks that are here from UCLA and Oklahoma, and for that matter from Ole Mizzou, are getting an eyeful of that young man. And now running forward for Rockhurst, Chris Powell, the ball carrier. He has the game's only touchdown. He picked up about 4 yards before being driven backwards.
We talked before about the turnover not amounting to any points, but it really cost the Hawklets about 45 yards when you consider they took over at their 10-yard line. Had Gamble not fumbled, they would have been sitting at the 45-yard line of the Hawks with a much better opportunity to score, obviously.
And Jack Jones, as you mentioned just moments ago, time really becoming an ally of Kansas City Rockhurst.
Yes, time and having the ball in your possession, of course, are two enjoyable things they've got going right now.
Rashid down to the 29-yard line. 3rd and short coming up for Rockhurst. And you don't want to do anything foolish here, the way Rashid is running the football behind good blocking. Here he comes, right at you.
He does so many things so well. He runs hard, inside, outside, makes great reads, and his balance is tremendous for a guy that weighs in about 230, 235. He's able to stay on his feet, sort of crawl along the ground like Robert Holmes did for the Chiefs so many years ago.
Rashid, the ball carrier, he is flipped at the 30. And was there a fumble? They're checking right now. I thought the ball might have squirted loose. Apparently not. Rockhurst will be forced to punt, and what a big defensive play that is.
What a super job. A great penetration, creating that punting situation now.
So back deep will go number 31 for Hazelwood Central, Travis McBride. Brinkley has been back there most of the time. McBride is back now, and he will wait to return the punt from Chris Holmes. Holmes is at the 16-yard line, his own. Snaps a good one. The punt is high. Fair catch is called for and made at the 41-yard line. 6:49 left to go here in the football game with Dave Stewart and Jack Jones. I'm Rich Gould. Hope that you are enjoying this 5A championship game wherever you might be. There you see the clock. Faurot Field, the University of Missouri.
That punt was about as close to being blocked as you'd want to have one be if you're a Rockhurst fan.
The way this football team runs the ball, and there you see the timeouts, Rockhurst with 3, Hazelwood Central with 2. This could very well be their last possession. That was Lorenzo Brinkley, who lined up in a shotgun formation and ran left and gained maybe a half yard.
Of course, we're going to point out that for the first 4 games of the season, Lorenzo Brinkley was the quarterback. In fact, played quarterback in the championship game last year. So this move is not totally unexpected. He has great ability as a quarterback, control the ball well.
James Hughes is into the game for Hazelwood. And you see some of the players on the sideline for the Central Ball Club. They have the ball. Johnson is bottled up and pushed backwards. Nothing doing. Good defense. Rockhurst has really shown us something, Dave.
Well, they really did. They felt all along that they matched up physically well up front, and that's the big guy, Ryan, 75, that made the initial hit. Held Johnson up just long enough to get some help from some teammates, and all of a sudden you're looking at 3rd down and long, 8 yards to go.
And you get the feeling that 7-0 may just be the way this thing ends up.
And remember, we talked about it, there is no overtime. If they would score, kick an extra point, 7-7, they'd have to live with the trophy cut down the middle.
It is misting here in Columbia. There's the fake. Brinkley slips as he tries to make his cut, but he wouldn't have gone anywhere. Chris Powell was right there and put a hit to it.
Powell, the only touchdown of the game early last week. We told you he's a sophomore. 14 tackles a week ago against Jeff City. Has this guy got a future, Coach, or what?
He's got a great future, but I want to get back to that last play, which Rockhurst read very well. What Hazelwood Central did was come in an unbalanced line, doubled it over to the right side. That is to say, they only had an offensive guard on the left side and then tried to run that side. But the Hawks defended that very well. Didn't shift down totally. Was able to control the line of scrimmage.
Brinkley kicked it away from Gamble. Brinkley had a notion, I think, to run the football, but he didn't do it. It goes down to the 27-yard line. And that's where Rockhurst will have it, and they'll have it with a 7-0 lead. This is the Missouri State High School Football Network. 4:44, the Rockhurst fans are on their feet across the way. They are cheering what could very well be another state championship for this team from Kansas City. They lead here 7-0. They have the ball. It is at the 28, and Rashid will carry. His object now is to hang on. No fumbles here. Rashid got it up to the 32-yard line, maybe. Depends on the spot.
Well, you're not going to see anything tricky the last 4 minutes and 30 seconds if Rockhurst does indeed keep possession. All they want to do is eat up that clock all the way down to 0 straight across.
Yeah, the key here, of course, becomes ball control, and by ball control, we don't only mean making 1st and 10s, but actually controlling the ball. You don't want a turnover at this stage of the game.
High formation. The quarterback, Jim Dorlack. Rashid, the ball carrier, 35-yard line, and he is tripped up. Say, the Missouri State High School 5A Championship is brought to you by Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Missouri. Carry the Blue Cross and Blue Shield caring card, the card that cares for the United States Olympic team. And they care for the United States Olympic team.
A couple of young ladies that care about these Hawks on defense. They say, get the ball back.
They desperately need it. It's becoming more and more foggy, really creeping in. That won't affect anything. First down, I believe, for Rockhurst. And do I need to say who has the football?
Boy, that buys you some time if Rashid got across it, indeed, beyond the 38-yard line for a first down. There's another look at it, just straight up the middle. Kept moving those big, powerful legs, and indeed, he buys the Hawklets at least 3-4 more downs.
And, of course, the other thing about the 1st and 10 is that if you do end up having to punt, you put yourself in a much better position to kick the ball a little further down the field and you keep Hazelwood away from your end zone.
Central High with their work cut out for it. Rashid carrying the football to the 42-yard line. That's a gain of 4. 4 yards and a crack for Rockhurst. They are controlling the clock. They have a 7-0 lead, and it's going to be very tough for Hazelwood Central to get their hands on the football again.
Now, they're going to have to spend some timeouts pretty quick here to get this thing under control and to try to stop this ground attack.
Central has wasted 2 timeouts. They have 1 remaining.
Kenyon Rashid over the 100-yard mark. 104 yards to be exact. He said he wanted to have the game of his career. I think he'd take a win at this point.
Or both.
Or both.
The game of his career and both. 40, the ball carrier for Rockhurst. And he put both hands, Chris Powell did, on the football, didn't he? He really tucked it in tight.
Yeah, and a nice lead block by Rashid that time to kind of open that hole.
That's something that the college scouts will look at when they are scouting a player to go to their university. Not only does he carry the football well, but he's unselfish and he will block for others.
I would imagine the University of Missouri doesn't mind that Rashid is playing on their field today.
That's right.
Probably like to make it a permanent fixture if they could.
I saw Woody Wittenhofer downstairs. He's watching this game. Rockhurst calls timeout. They don't want to do anything foolish here. They have a 3rd and short. Not too short, 3rd and 4, but the way they've been running the football, this is a team that can crank out 4 yards in a hurry.
Speaking of the University of Missouri and the kids that are on the field today, I think both these squads, if Woody had his way, he could probably pin some names up on some lockers down there permanently and keep these youngsters right now. Put them into spring practice and move them right on.
You know, there was a time not all that long ago when Rockhurst was sort of divorced from the University of Missouri. When Coach Woody came to town, he did a good job reestablishing Tiger ties, not only at Rockhurst but beyond throughout all of Kansas City. Chris Russell, George Pizzell, a couple of names familiar to Rockhurst people, past and present. They were both freshmen this year, were able to see some action for the Tigers, and Woody would like that tradition to continue. Obviously, Mr. Rashid would come over here. That would be the coup of the decade.
That's right. Timeouts left. Rockhurst with 2, Hazelwood with 1, and they will have to spend it soon. 1 minute, 56 seconds left in the football game. Hazelwood Central in a must-stop situation here. 3rd and 4. I formation. Rashid with the ball. Cuts inside, close to a first down. I think he might be ever so short.
Well, it's going to come down to the official spot, and from where it's spotted, it looks like he's just a little short. Now, we're a long way off, and my eyes aren't as good as they used to be, but I'm betting on a couple of inches short.
All right, Coach, let us have it. Let's say that he's 2 inches short. What do you do? Do you go ahead and run Rashid and try to run the clock out, or do you punt it away?
Well, I think in this situation, you don't have to worry because it is 4th down.
4th down.
Well,
they won't punt here.
Typical situation in this ball game where having the ball gives you the win. I say you keep the ball, get the 1st and 10. The only way the Hawks can win this ball game now is get the ball back.
One thing about it, if you kick it away, you almost forced Hazelwood to have to pass the football, something they don't do real well. But that's why I'm up here, and that's why Coach Severino, Coach Hotfelder are down on the sideline, have the teams back in the championship.
Power I formation. This could be the ball game. Quarterback sneak, 1st down. Rockhurst will win, it appears. 7-0, and of course there could be a miracle, but who knows? Right now, one of the Hazelwood Central gentlemen, I think it's Brinkley, Lorenzo, was pointing that Hazelwood stopped him, but I don't think that was the case. Do you guys?
No, it doesn't appear that way. It looks like 1st and 10.
Clock is stopped. Officials timeout. We will have a measurement from where we sit. The ball is touching the 49-yard line.
Yeah, it looks like half the distance of the ball, and they've got a 1st and 10.
First down, Rockhurst. And with it, more than likely, another state championship. And more disappointment for a Hazelwood Central team that is outstanding, that has a tradition that almost matches Rockhurst. A tradition of getting here, but a tradition of not winning once they get here. And that could be the case today. A minute 10 and counting.
Well, the Hawks are going to have to spend a couple of timeouts now to get the clock stopped, if they want to stop the clock.
Because and they have only one timeout to give.
Jim Dorlack, all he has to do is snap the ball and put his knee on the ground, let the clock continue to run.
55 seconds and counting. Dorlack, the quarterback, and I don't believe he got the playoff. Let's see. Delay of game against Rockhurst. So back it goes. Yesterday, keep in mind, in the Show Me Bowl, Seneca won a state championship. So did Camdenton. Earlier today, Berkeley High School of St. Louis defeated Branson 45-8 to win the 3A state championship. And this is a 7-0 game. And Rockhurst will be the team calling timeout.
You know, Rockhurst came into this game with just some outstanding offensive statistics. Rushing for well over 3,000 yards as a team, and good throwing yardage. And it's a tribute to the Hazelwood defense to have been able to play as close as they have. And the fact of the matter, if it wouldn't have been for the turnover, we may be looking at 0-0 at this moment.
Disappointment for Hazelwood Central in 1981, in 1983, and in 1987. And in each case, it was against this Rockhurst team. Two great football teams, huh, guys?
Absolutely. Evenly matched. Coach Severino's first year with the Hawklets, 1983. A year that he took his team to the championship game, and they beat Hazelwood Central by 3 points in 83. Won a year ago in 86, and are 50 seconds away from doing the same here in 1987.
Three backs in the backfield, two of them 10 yards behind the ball, as Dorlack will just fall on it, and now Hazelwood Central will have to call their final timeout. So two more snaps, and Rockhurst will have another state championship.
Short of something very unusual happening. And there are some unusual stories that have happened in this situation. I don't see it happen today with this group, but it looks like Rockhurst, again, has another state championship to be proud of.
And we are very proud of the Missouri State High School Activities Association. Mark Winter and everybody here at Faurot Field treating us very, very well. We appreciate all of your help. We hope that those of you at home, those of you warm and dry, have enjoyed this football game. It is misting here at Faurot Field, perhaps misting more on the Hazelwood Central side. 2 snaps from now, and they will be done. 45 seconds. Dorlack, the quarterback. Second down, and he goes to one knee, so the clock continues to run. And depending on the time, I think there will be time for one more play, but it'll be the same.
You know, it almost seems selfish. The same Rockhurst school won the basketball championships here in Columbia, right across the street at the Hearn Center. Football a year ago at Arrowhead, and today, Faurot Field in Columbia, they are about to beat Hazelwood Central 7-0. 17 ticks is all that separates them from another title.
And then we don't want to slight the soccer players at Rockhurst. They were also in the got to the semifinals, the state tournament.
What is it we've been saying all afternoon? Tradition. Both of these schools have great tradition. Hazelwood Central will lose this football game, but I know Coach John Hotfelder is very proud of his Hawks and the job that they have done this year. They will finish with a 12-2 record. Rockhurst will finish 13-1 with a state championship.
Well, it's a great tribute to both of these schools, both of the football teams, the coaching staffs, the fans. They had a tremendous year, tremendous years. We had to put that in plural.
And the final play of the game, Kansas City Rockhurst. Counting down, and it's over. The Rockhurst side going wild. Their team now doing the state victorious jump. 1987 Missouri State High School Activities Association 5A Show Me Bowl champions. Congratulations to the Hawklets of Rockhurst.